Well, obviously exciting games this weekend against Tennessee, some hard fought games. Those of us that, were there and obviously do a couple of things here and there, and those games go our way. So I was pleased with our effort. I was pleased with, overall with kind of our approach to the game. And, again, just continue to learn and get better, tidy up a couple of things, a couple calls come our way or go our way. I think, it's a different ball game. But for us to be toe to toe with that caliber of a team, I think just kind of shows what kind of what's in store for here, and what we're capable of doing and day in and day out. And so I thought our pitching was just outstanding Friday and Saturday, and for the most part on Sunday. And so just continuing to get better in that area, because I felt like the last month or so, it hadn't been kind of what we knew that it was capable of being. And so I thought we did a really good job of controlling both sides of the plate, throwing our off speed, keeping hitters, at bay. So now we walk into a big weekend for us, honestly. And we're home for another weekend in a row. It's the first time that we've had back-to-back home weekends. So we placed the Saturday, Sunday, Monday series, and excited to get back out there. I thought the 12th man this weekend was electric, and really, really appreciate the support and know that those were exciting games. So they're starting to kind of, get excited for Aggie softball, which is good.
So you've won 5 conference games against ranked teams. Now, on paper, you're going to play the last 4 series against teams that are unranked. So how do you handle going from being hunted to the hunter now being the hunted? Because those teams will try to do exactly what you've done the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's funny. We've been talking about that for the last couple of days. And really, it's that same message that we've been preaching this whole year of it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the dugout. We want to play our brand of softball. And our brand of softball is being competitive in the circle, utilizing both sides of the plate, changing speeds. In the box, we have to be able to execute the short game. We have to be able to move runners and get a big hit when we have those opportunities. And then we have to play clean defense. So no matter who we are playing, that doesn't change. And so I think that's really the message of, as we move and progress forward with this season and, my time here in Aggieland, that's something that I want us to get used to, is being the hunted, because that means that we're doing some things really well.
Do you kind of, I guess starting with Tennessee's pitching, I know one of the best staffs in the nation. I know relatively, I guess, held you guys in check runs-wise, but again, considering the competition, just what you take away from, how your girls handled that kind of elite talent?
Yeah, Rogers is good. When you look at some of her information, she's got really dynamic up movement with a change, which makes it, difficult, obviously. But I thought they didn't bring her back in after, Friday. And Pickens, when she threw her first couple pitches at whatever time it was, 10 o'clock at night when we had the rain delay, I looked over I can't even remember who it was, and I was like, that's fast. And what I really was impressed with was our ability for Julia and Trinity to get ball on barrel. Julia got a base hit, Trin just missed. And so I was like, I left that game, obviously not, we didn't get a win, but I was like, we're going to see Pickens tomorrow, and it's going to be daytime, and we're going to do some things. And I thought we did. And then Sunday, I don't feel like we took advantage of Gottschall to the point that we needed to take care of things before, Pickens came back in. So I think there were some things, from a learning perspective, we got Pickens out of the game early on Saturday, and they went to down ballers, and we swung at 2 first pitches right away and rolled over to third base. I think as we progress and we get better and more savvy in the box, we maybe do some things differently in those situations, because there's a reason why they brought in the down baller, right, for us to roll over. The same reason why Preston was so dynamic on Saturday. And so just learning from that, having a different approach in the box, going from one pitcher to the other pitcher, I think making those adjustments quicker, it's going to be something that we have to get better at.
Do you, I try not to put too much weight on Coco specifically, but it seemed like the way y'all kind of put your lineup together when she's in that 5-6 spot, it almost works as sort of a second lineup within the lineup. Kind of Coco reset the table for another group of hitters. Is that sort of kind of what y'all are thinking in terms of how that goes together?
It has more to do with who's pitching, what their pitching profile looks like movement wise, and trying to get the most out of Trinity and Julia, meaning them getting the most amount of pitches. And AC, we wanted her to get some at bats because we thought, yes, we want to win this series, but we want AC to get some information and at bats so that by the time postseason comes, she's gotten some really good at bats against some high level pitching. So then you also have to take into consideration, because of AC's speed, you don't want that to be, her and Trinity be back to back, or her and Julia runs pretty well, but you're trying to eliminate some of those pieces. The other piece is Coco and Rylan together can do some short gaming and run. And so it has a little bit to do with matchups. And then I don't, necessarily, like this past weekend, didn't want to stack all of our righties and lefties together. So kind of breaking that up.
So what matchup or matchups do you like going against Mississippi State, and what matchup or matchups might cause you a little concern when you look at it?
Yeah, I think I'm going to be honest with you. I'm in probably only about hour 6 of film, and so I'm not really. I think there's a couple of things that we have to hit this weekend. Their pitching, I think, is something that we are capable of handling. So I think that's going to be key. They have one kid that throws pretty firm. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm blanking on her name. I could tell you it's the kid that's Hawk maybe, or
Kinley Hawk.
Yeah, she's like the
started
fifth.
2 games, playing 15, pitching 15.
Yeah, so there's one kid that throws 68 and kind of erratic, so that can be tricky because you don't know where the ball is going, and throwing 68 with change. But for the most part, their pitching is our arms, types of arms that we have seen pretty regularly that I feel comfortable with. But we have to execute at the end of the day. I think our hitters, they are right-handed. Our pitchers, they are right-handed heavy, so we're going to have to take that into consideration. They probably only have about 3 lefties in their lineup consistently. I think they only have 4 on roster. So they're more of a power type hitting group. Won't do a lot of short game stuff. So I think that matches up with us pretty okay. But at the end of the day, we just have to come out and play our game. And that's really, that's our challenge, honestly, being very frank. Our challenge is coming out and playing our game for 3 days. This past weekend, I thought we did it for 2 and a bit.
Talk about those freshmen a little bit. You just relied on so many of them, and we saw it this weekend with Keeley, Amari. It almost doesn't matter who you put in there, but the amount of growth I feel like that's gone on from then to now, and just how much longer you have them. Is that?
It's exciting. Yeah, honestly. And Keeley is just, and Amari, both of them are just straight face. You can't even tell, kind of what that situation is. And they're doing a really good job of taking in coaching. And what I mean by that, yes, mechanical, but breath, routine, those types of things. And I think they come from very strong organizations, and I think when you look at recruiting, I think that's important, is that they play in a lot of stressful pressure games and situations because they don't know any better, and really at this point they don't know any better. We've moved Keeley all over the lineup. She's whatever, I love that. And Amari, I like her in the 9-hole, to be honest with you. I think she turns the lineup over. She gets some pitches, she's able to do some things. So I don't know. I just tell them keep doing what you're doing. I'm not going to mess you up, and keep rolling. But no, they're putting in the work. I mean, there's a reason why they're progressing.
And then Madison this weekend, obviously, her performance was just lights out. Does that kind of give you just another dimension to your bullpen now that and you can bring her in to start. Now you have the confidence to have her come in, later in the game as well.
Yeah. That's the Madison Preston I've been waiting to see. That's what she looked like at ASU. And it was really neat. I think for me, Saturday, without sounding too dorky, like I took it in because I'm like, we're witnessing a very special moment for press for all of the work that she has done, her family has done. Like I was really excited and happy for her, especially after the game. Like she got to do her interview with Kendry on her hip. Like there's just like, you can't take that away, you know? And so that was really special. And I think the other piece that, you know, hopefully moving forward, like Preston like took a breath and she said to me, she goes, I did it. And I'm like, absolutely, like you did it. And so hopefully she now kind of takes that moving forward. And if we can get Preston to throw the way she did this weekend consistently, that's going to make us, I mean, just, we're going to be a nightmare because she had 10 inches of down break on Saturday with change. Like that's very different from our other looks. So she will help us tremendously if we can get that out of her.
And then with Tennessee this week, we saw, I feel like more hit by pitches than I've ever seen over a 3-game stretch. Like, was that just simply them crowding the plate and kind of leaning, or do you think that has something to do with the way Kennedy and Levitt throw it?
Yeah, I think there was definitely a tactic that was used that produced that, and we did not get a call. The rule is if it's fully in the batter's box, it's a hit by pitch. If it's in the river or obviously going to be a strike, it should, you know, they should stay in the box. The data that I have supports kind of my feelings this weekend. But it is what it is. I think the other thing that we have to do better is controlling that spacing. And so what I mean by that, if somebody is on the plate, I, as a pitcher, can just throw the ball down the middle because that spacing is still going to feel like an inside pitch. And so I think learning from that and growing from that, because that's what they're going to do against Levitt. They're going to absolutely, you know, crowd the plate. She controls the inner half of the plate very nicely. And so when they did that to us on Saturday, she was able to throw her changeup. And on Sunday, her changeup was a little erratic. So there's a couple of pieces that I think we can do to help negate that because they're not going to be the only team that does that. And so we have to get better in kind of counteracting that.
Is that umpire's discretion and is that reviewable or no?
It is, and it's umpire's discretion, but it has to be enough evidence, you know, to overturn it. So you can live in that area. Yeah.
It's hard to see from up in the press box, but were they closer on Sunday than Saturday? Because obviously, you know, 2 or 3 hit batters, I kind of expect that way the softball's played each game. But 9, I guess there was 6 and 3, 9. Were they a little bit closer on Sunday? Okay, figured that.
Yeah,
but, you
yeah.
know.
The good thing about all of our technology is, you know, I have all of the, like, where the ball crosses the plate information, so that might have gotten passed on.
You submitted that to the office. Okay, yeah, just yeah, it was assume that. You know.
Yes.
Don't want to assume that.
Yes, right, yes. We know the saying that goes with that, right?
Yeah.
You talk a lot about playing your brand of ball, so how have you seen the team adjust to playing their brand of ball dependent upon if it's a ranked team or a not ranked team?
Yeah, I mean, I think that is part of us playing our brand of ball, that there should be no difference. You know, last week when we had our midweeks, I did not love our energy. And so that was something that was communicated pretty clearly and just like what that looks like when our standard is playing a certain like level of ball. It doesn't matter if it's January, February, October, or June, we should be playing that level of ball. And so that's really where our, you know, my message is to them of like, I don't care if it's the number 1 team. I don't care if it's the number 250th team. Like, we play Aggie softball. We don't play who's in that other side of that dugout. And so right now we have a great opportunity this weekend to come out and compete our tails off and, you know, really, you know, make some noise. And so I think that if we come out here and play our game, we're going to have a good weekend. If we don't, we will have a rough weekend. I mean, there's nobody in conference play that if you don't show up will not beat you. I mean, you look across the, you know, the conference this weekend, you had some, you know, teams beating up on teams, and that's kind of, you know, the name of the game. So my message to them is always come out and play our level of softball.